Enjoying some Jaiga in the background. It's Friday, the Now Morning Show, and as much as we are reminiscing, we are looking forward to our future as well. And the future looks bright, because as much as he can sing soca, he can be a radio presenter and so much more. Jaiga is now a co-author. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming him and his co-author, Dr. Amala Luncheon, to the Now Morning Show. I say welcome and good morning.
Hi, what's going on, Anita? What's
Don't you say, hi, what's going on? I formal, and you chilling. All right, cool, fine. Thank you, first of all, for getting up super early.
Yeah, it's very early over on these days.
And you're, very early. Where are you both? Jaiga, where are you right now?
Currently, we are in D.C.
Oh, you're both in D.C.?
We are here to, we have a book signing with the Caribbean Consulate. Later on this morning, we'll be meeting with the Trinidad and Tobago ambassador.
Beautiful.
The Guyanese ambassador, the St. Lucian ambassador.
Now, for our viewers who didn't necessarily get the full backstory, we moved from radio presenter, soca artist, to co-author, let me say it properly, because you are getting ready for that book signing on your book that speaks on emotional intelligence.
Caribbean perspective.
I am so very proud. It's called Everyday Lessons in Emotional Intelligence, and it is a beautiful way to segue into life, as you say, everyday lessons. So as much as I know you, and as much as I may have some insight into your emotional intelligence, tell me how we decide to put pen to paper, quite literally.
Yeah, pen to paper, paper to pen, as I always say every time I start my concert series. Well, in all honesty, I want to introduce Trinidad to Dr. Amala, who came into my life by accident and has changed it immensely. All right, so it really happened by chance, to be honest. The story that I gave is that she stumbled upon a YouTube show that I do and reached out. And the first time she actually said, hey, listen, I'm writing a book and I think you'll be perfect to co-write the book with me. I was like, goodbye. Because I had absolutely no idea. I was like, what book? Me? Noisy, loud me? And then she kind of broke it down and explained why she felt I would be perfect for the project. Due to the fact that I host a show called Mars vs. Venus every Friday, and I have a couple episodes in, a couple hundred episodes in of that, and it's pretty popular for certain demographic. And she said, through looking at that, she felt as though I had a great understanding of what emotional intelligence is. And for those of you who might be wondering, emotional intelligence really and truly is one's ability to understand their own emotions and, of course, manage the emotions of others. So yeah, that's kind of how the journey started.
And I will get into details with the doctor because her story and her contribution is obviously impactful. But today is actually International Men's Day as well. And a big trope that we tend to throw around is that, you know, a lot of men are emotionally unavailable. So the timeliness of this is impeccable. And I think it is absolutely necessary to have you tell me at least one, just one detail or perhaps one of the everyday lessons that you hope that men or male readers, as well as females who need to support the males to be better, can take away.
Let me say something that is a little taboo when it comes to men. I want to tell you this though, for all the men who's listening, looking at the show, your vulnerability is actually a superpower, and men need to embrace that. You understand? For many, many years, there's so much things we need to unlearn. We can't unpack all of that now this morning, but there's so many things that we need to unlearn. But one of the things I want to say is that men need to understand that their vulnerability is really their superpower and they need to embrace it. Once you can do that and you can understand that, you can just accomplish just about anything. And for me personally, just for a quick backstory, I too have been on a personal journey for quite some time. Back in 2016, for those who know, those who didn't know, I suffered depression, went into therapy. So all of those steps moving forward, it really is why I felt I ended up here. It was inevitable at some point. But the book thing I really didn't see, but my personal growth and the growth of really trying to get a better understanding of self really started back in 2016, and now we're here.
Beautiful. Couldn't ask for a better bit of insight. Now, on the book itself, Dr. Amala, you said this was your original idea, and to have a co-author come into things means that, well, like he said, you saw something in him that added to your message. Tell me a little bit about your mission and how Jaiga came onto that course, I should say.
All right, good morning. Thanks for having me. So initially what it was, I actually did it from my dissertation research because I knew nobody would read my dissertation unless they really had to. And I thought that it would be a great way to get the information out there because in doing the research, I realized that a lot of people didn't know what emotional intelligence was.
Right.
And they sort of shied away from it. However, because it is not necessarily directly connected to being cognitive intelligence, so you don't necessarily have to be bright as some people think. It's just the ability to understand, identify and understand your own emotions, and then be able to identify those in others, like Jaiga said, and control those. So for me, wanting to tell the story and to let people understand, hey, if you are self-aware enough, if you are in tune with your own emotions and you can identify what other people are feeling, thinking, doing, then we would have a lot less crime in society, and we'd have a lot better relationships with our co-workers, with our significant others, with our children. So it was from that angle that I wanted to make sure that the message got out. And then listening to Jaiga with his show, I thought, well, here's somebody who understands it and has a platform. This would be a great person to explain it and have them, just do a little bit more work on it. And that's really how it came about.
Beautiful. Now, as an academic, we may be intimidated by your level of knowledge in any field for that matter, but here we are getting everyday lessons from now on. And as we are at the start of the book tour, does this mean that the process continues, that we may have another version, that the story is going to continue, there may be more collaborative efforts? Where are we going next?
Let me jump in on this one.
Yes, and yes, and yes.
Yes, and yes, and yes.
And, we actually have a podcast that we've started. We are 5 episodes in at this point. It's called Everyday Lessons Now. And we do a 20-minute podcast. We're also doing an hour-long live podcast on Intentional Talk Radio on Sunday evenings. And that is based in the US, based in California. And their demographic is for people who look like us. And, we were happy to do that. Once they found out that we had done the book and so on, they reached out. And I thought that was pretty interesting, a great platform to have.
Perfect.
And yes, there's another book that we're going to be doing. I know Jai would love to talk about it now.
Yeah. It's already in the works.
We are talking about it.
Okay. Done. It's going to be launched on the 22nd of April, 2022.
Okay.
It's called 22 Questions Women Over 40 Should Ask Men Before Dating.
Oh, that title is long, specific, and I think you have a buyer. Natalie's hand is up.
22 questions women should ask men before dating.
Okay.
Amazing.
It's very straightforward though, so I'm not going to ask too much of that, especially because I'm not in that age group or that dating category. But I do want to ask, as far as co-authoring goes, and I want you both to give me a little insight on that. I know, Jaiga, it might be easier for you to conceptualize perhaps because writing songs, you co-write with producers and other writers, but writing a book is a different thing.
All right, let me tell you, for me, I was very, very intimidated, to be quite honest. Because we had some back and forth before, you understand? And because of social media, we have never met in person. We spoke a lot over social media. And then when we finally met, the plan to do the book and how it's going to be writing was kind of weird for me. So to make it comfortable, we kind of went into my space. I brought Dr. Amala. This might sound weird, down to my little level. Whereas we went into studio and I created the atmosphere as if we were going to record. And what we did is we knocked out some hours well. I'm talking about a lot of hours, just having conversations, me telling different stories, which is something I do pretty well, I think, where I can express very fluidly how things I've experienced, things I've been through, and being very honest, and that's how we started it. And we recorded those, and she then took the recordings and broke it down, and we turned some of my words into beautiful passages in the book. And staying true to me, great is the art form. Before every chapter, we use little takes and little sound bites from different people, which I really appreciate. And some of the ones that I love the most, like hello and greeting, first time we're meeting, I hope you're not leaving, stay a little bit. We also took one of my favorites ever, which is Stranger, I'm a Stranger, said a pretty girl. I came down here for the carnival. Soca music had me in a trance, want to play mass. teach them how to dance. Next chapter. So
Look you.
that is how we did it.
Well, we are unfortunately out of time, but let me say a heartfelt thank you, because as I said before, today is International Men's Day. We are getting ready for an incredible shift that you guys are spearheading. I want to say congratulations. I want to wish you well on your book tour. I want to say thank you for joining us this morning, for collaborating, and for continuing to find different ways to continue to share the message. Ladies and gentlemen, Jaiga, aka, or should I use your author name now, Terrin Callender? And of course, Dr. Amala Luncheon, the co-author of Everyday Lessons in Emotional Intelligence. It's available everywhere as of November 5th. A new book is coming, and don't forget to check out their podcast on a Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining the Morning Show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Happy Friday, guys. And that is the energy we're going to keep all day long. Emotional intelligence, remembering the past, celebrating everything, and making a difference now. We take a break and come back.